Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Me and Liam. Start again. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Me and Liam are here ready to tell you our favourite scenes from Supermassive Games, going from Until Dawn all the way up to The Devil in Me. We have purposely omitted Hidden Agenda from this list, mostly because we haven't covered it on the channel yet and we feel it's a bit random just to throw it in there. So mate, let's get underway. We'll start with you and Until Dawn.
Favorite scene from Until Dawn is chapter 5, the Sam chase. Everything from the start where she's in the bathtub listening to the classical music with that shot, that has been my desktop for nearly a decade or something now. I love everything about it, you know, going down to the cinema room and the psycho chasing you. I find it a really challenging scene as well. It's really daunting, especially where the psycho's right behind you before you get to that wooden door. And then, you know, there's the whole choice that comes into effect before about whether, you know, the animal was shot, whether Sam gets cut open, because it might mean that you don't even have the choice to escape or not. You get found either way. I actually failed it on my first time, and it just makes me love the scene even more because of how challenging it was, and it made it really cool from a replayability front to go back and see the bonus, you know, scenes you get if Sam was to escape here.
Yeah, honestly, that's a great scene. I mean, I said to you, didn't I, mate, that I think that could be like my favourite as well. But I think, you know, for the sake of variety, but I've also gone for a chase scene in Until Dawn. But this one is with Emily. So it's the one where she's getting chased by the Wendigo. And again, it comes to that point I was saying about jeopardy and getting the heart beating. The QTEs are coming up. So fairly small on the screen. That's not a criticism, but like I think it makes your eyes dance around the screen a lot more. You've got the timer there. There's the moments where just like the Wendigo's screaming and you're thinking, God, it's like right behind her. You've got choices in there, like when she gets on the conveyor belt, you can go off of it. Of course, if you stay on it, there's a risk that she falls in, you know, to the machine. Is it like the grinder or something? I think in my playthrough I did actually leap off, so I managed to avoid that whole section. But the fact that she can get like such a haunting and like dark death there, I think that's got to be a reason why it's up there. But also you get a badass exit, like she jumps on a zip line and escapes. So yeah, it's strange because she's not one of my favourite characters, but it's definitely one of my favourite scenes. Right, so we're now going to go over to the Quarry, and this is a bit of a weird one for me because I'm going to say it's truth or dare. Now, for some reason, this is the one that just pops in my mind when I think of the Quarry. Maybe that's to the Quarry's detriment because if it's like, you know, less impact of horror, I don't know. But yeah, like it was the first point in my blind playthrough where I was like, ooh, like I'm really interested to see where this goes because of the whole kiss between Nick and Emma. I think it's also the point where we have all of the characters together interacting, which, let's face it, in these games is fairly rare, you know? I mean, we don't get a satisfying ending where we have the characters come back together, or at least, you know, the survivors. So it was really good to see the dynamic, especially between Jacob and Emma. Of course, there's the thing with like Ryan and Dylan and Caitlin. There's that triangle going on, and yeah, like it just set up the, you know, the sequence for splitting them up, and you know, the horror kicking in really well.
Yeah, for myself, and this is one Jack and I both agreed is definitely one of the best ones, it's the scrapyard scene. So probably two of the stronger characters, Caitlin and Dylan, get some time together. I love everything about it. I mean, maybe not the start where you're going around, there's a lot of dead empty space, but everything after that when you get to, you know, the crane, just amazing. The wolf fight, you know, with Silas. I love the horror effect with the lights coming on before. You don't really know what it's about, but when you sort of see the lights instead of seeing the wolf, it's just really eerie knowing you're coming in for this fight scene. And it's just really cool as well. I didn't expect the game to throw us some heavy metal and, like, you know, during these cool QuickTime events. It is probably the best action scene in the game and one that I felt the game needed more of. But yeah, just a really memorable scene, and I'm pretty sure I'm not alone when I voiced that it's got to be one of the best scenes in the Quarry. For Man of Medan, I've gone with a bit of an odd one. I don't see enough people talking about this scene, but it was certainly my favourite. And that is when Fliss goes into the ballroom. Now, obviously, you know, she's hallucinating, but it's not quite apparent. So if you don't know the twist of the game, it's just really cool, like, not knowing that at this point. But yeah, she goes around, sees the ballroom exactly as it would have been. And, you know, you go outside, get your fresh air, and then you come back and you realise that it is decrepit as the rest of the ship. But I don't know, I just thought it was really cool. We had the old style music. I just thought it was really fitting and a really good job. Yeah, I just enjoyed the scene so much.
Yeah, so for me, it's got to be the dark ending. It's the one where, is it that the army or something, they come in and they kill all the survivors. And I just think, like, if someone had that in their blind playthrough, it's got to be, like, gutting, but also thrilling in equal measure, because I think in my playthrough, I just had, like, 3 survivors, and, you know, they got picked up and went. I think it really hinges on that whole radio scene. Like, if you fuck that up, that basically determines that whether you get this ending or not. And it's just so dark because obviously you've got the whole war thing attached to it, the Manchurian gold, which was clearly part of cover up. Like, all these young people, like, they think that they've been rescued. You've got that, like, hurrah moment. And then to get brutally gunned down, like, it's just such a dark but awesome way to end the game. Okay, so moving on to Little Hope, it's obvious for me. I picked the prologue. There's just so many things I could say that I absolutely adore about this prologue. Whether it's the authentic 70s clothing and, like, just the family home, it feels very authentic. It feels very real. Obviously, you've got, like, the interactions between the family. They're very believable, whether it's the mum and the dad, the brothers and the sisters. You've got the creepy little girl wandering around who obviously has a big part in the plot. Even, like, the big shadow on the wall, you know, when you first see that, you're like, damn, like, this is gonna have some supernatural elements to it, like, where's this gonna go? But of course, the main reason, it's the shock factor. It's when the fire starts, you don't expect it. And again, I come back to that point that although, like, it sort of set a precedent for prologue characters getting killed off, I still found it a shock when they all got killed off apart from Anthony. So yeah, that was a very obvious choice for me, mate.
I completely agree. I would have gone for the prologue as well. But if I can't pick the prologue, the second one I am going for is probably away from the main 5 again. I've got to go for the flashback scenes back in 1692. From Abraham, Tabitha, everyone like that. I just thought it was really cool looking back at all the old executions, how those executions linked into the monsters that each of the characters face. Everything from the accents as well. I really like the voice acting in this bit. And, you know, I criticise Little Hope heavily for not having enough depth and kind of, you know, emotion within the characters. But I really saw it from, like, the prologue and these flashback characters. It was just nice to take a break from it. And to be honest, I thought this was what we needed to see more of. And I felt it lacked it. I would have definitely loved to have dwelled more into this old 1962 part. But yeah, I just felt Little Hope did really well with these scenes. Now, when we go to House of Ashes, my favourite one, in terms of just the beauty of it, I mean, I nearly picked kind of like the later on bit where you're with, like, the aliens and everything's green and it just looks really cool when you're deep down in the heart of the nest. But I've gone with the Blood River when you're Rachel. You think that, I mean, you don't think she's going to die. We know she's going to come back, but it's just epic seeing her just covered in this blood, going through with this torch, just looking at, you know, like the absolute depths of, like, the caves. Yeah, just everything about it, from, like, the lighting, the look of it, then reuniting with Clarice later on. I just was really sucked into this scene massively.
Good stuff. So my choice low-key surprises me because, you know, you'd think that it would come later in the game, whether it's the, you know, the finding of the Ark or, like, when the bats start to come out of the cocoon. Weirdly for me in House of Ashes, it's when they're all in the helicopter and they're all having a bit of banter with one another. Like, Merwin's at the heart of it. He's delivering, like, your mum jokes. And I think, you know, the fact that it's him and Joey, they're side characters, but they get so much of the limelight here. I think that I'd probably go as far as to say that, yeah, I do think that House of Ashes has the strongest side characters in the DPA Season 1. This scene goes a long way for that. They're just very believable, and I just really love the scene. Rachel gets involved as well. She starts saying your mum jokes to get back at him, and just like the camaraderie to set like this cast of characters out early doors. I thought it was just a great way to set up the rest of the game, to be honest. I was really tossing up between the scene with Erin, where she's sort of wandering through. She can hear all like the supposed ghosts in her headphones and stuff. But I did ultimately go with the ultimatum ending. So similar to Man of Medan, I've picked the dark one. And yeah, it's just fantastic. You've got the whole moral dilemma of Mark. Of course, he's the ferryman. He's basically doing what Morello did, and he's bringing these characters to the island, which of course has problems to it, but equally you can understand because he's trying to save his girl. And then of course you get the twist where Dumet lets them go and they're off on the ferry, but he's just standing on the shore with the sniper. It ends badly for them. So yeah, I'm guessing like it's just one of them things where I just want more dark endings like that, because I just think that they're so impactful. And even if they don't survive, you've got Mark getting gassed in the chamber, then Kate getting injected with acid, which, are brutal ways to go. So yeah, they got really creative with there, and I just really enjoyed it.
And I like the bit where Kate's head got squished. Nah, for real, I could have gave it to a lot of scenes here, but I ended up giving it to Charlie and his banter in the third chapter with Erin. I just loved everything about Paul Kaye's voice acting here, about how irate and short-tempered and kind of irrational he was getting because he was desperate for a cigarette. From the scene where he goes down to the bar and he's absolutely battering like the cigarette machine, he's kind of yelling like at like the robotic bar tender. I just thought it was really great, and I just was so swept into Charlie Lonnett's character here and his voice acting, and it's the reason why he is my favourite cast member and character in DPA season 1.
Fantastic. I mean, to almost sort of reflect on those choices there, mate, I think we've done well in the sense that we've got some action. We both picked a chase sequence. We've both got some comedy from like House of Ashes for me and like The Devil in Me for you. And we obviously there's some like dark endings in there as well. So like we've got a varied bunch there. But I mean, guys, obviously do let us know what your favourite scenes in each of these games are. Obviously put them in the comments section below. Is there anything you wanted to add, mate?
Just how difficult this list was to build. There's so many scenes that aren't mentioned, and it kind of destroys me a little bit that I can't talk about them because, we're limiting it to one moment each. That's what this video is about to be. But, I've enjoyed talking about it. And like Jack said, I'd love to know what your favourite moments are as well. So please drop them down in the comments below.
Good stuff. Thanks for joining, guys. We'll see you next time.
Take care, guys. See you soon.